very interesting guy. A lot of charisma.
He's the best president in my lifetime for sure. He was the most statesmanlike, the most articulate. He was the most reasonable and measured, and he embodied in my mind what I would like to represent the United States. When the world sees the United States, let's have this super educated, clear-minded, just really smooth talker. Seemed like a very nice guy.
Put together.
Plays basketball. See how good he is at basketball?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a good golfer too.
Was he?
Yeah.
Did you win? Did you beat him?
Yeah.
Nice.
I had one of the rounds of my life.
Yeah?
Thankfully. I played good. I birdied the first 2 holes. And,
oh, nice.
But that was a highlight for sure.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool story. Let me just tell you this one cool story. So in 2010, we played the Washington Redskins at the time, and one of our receivers knew a Secret Service agent and got us a White House tour. So we went to D.C. and got a tour, and Mr. President came back on that Saturday from actually a round of golf, and they shuttered us into the side room. Hey, you can't see the president. You gotta, get out of the way. And he actually came. He heard we were there, and he came and met all of us in 2010, which is so cool. And then we played golf in 2016 at his last year in office. And at the end of the round, he was like, "How you guys getting back?" And I was with Mark Kelly, who's now the senator in Arizona, and we were like, "Oh, we just Ubered out here." He's like, "Yeah, ride back with me in the motorcade." I was like, "Fuck yeah, sweet." So we ride back in the motorcade, which is a wild experience. Like 9 cars. One of them's like, got the codes in it or something, I think. And
oh boy.
We get back into the White House and we walk in, and Mr. President goes, "This is just like the first day we met." And I was like, how fucking cool is that? This dude, I met him 6 years ago on this same thing, like on a Saturday after a golf round. And he's like, "Yeah, this is like the first time we met."
Wow.
I was like, that's so cool.
That's
like,
pretty
him
dope.
to just be like that present and aware. And then me and Mark Kelly, who flew his space shuttle 3 times, before his brother spent a year in space, I think he'd spent the most time in space, walked out of the front door of the White House onto Pennsylvania Avenue.
Wow.
That was a cool experience.
That's pretty dope. Yeah. Well, he was the best we had to offer in terms of like what represented. But, still there was a lot of people that didn't appreciate him. He experienced a lot of racism. He experienced a lot of unjust hate. I remember when Fox News was criticizing him because he wore a tan suit.
Yeah, you can't do that.
His beautiful suit. But
It's got to be
the wrong color.
It's got to be blue. And it's got to be a red tie or a blue tie, right? That's it. That's all you can.
They're like the homeowners association of politics. Like, what the fuck is wrong with his suit? It's a nice suit.
You're not gonna make everybody happy, man.
No.
Yeah.
But that's what
possible.
That's why no one wants that job.
Yeah.
Because no matter who you are, what you represent, someone's going to decide that you're evil. Someone's going to, even if they don't believe it, there's going to be some pundit, some, radio politics personality that's going to talk all kinds of crazy shit about you and make up stories about you. And
I feel like the last 10 years, it's really, don't you feel that both sides, the extremes have gotten farther apart? Like, I feel like for a while it was maybe the right had kind of been more extreme than the left, but I feel like now both sides, there's a real extreme wing to both sides, and there's even a greater divide between the two parties.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's in part due to the reaction of Trump. To Trump himself, the way he carries himself. I mean, he's that guy that got famous from saying you're fired. He got famous and he got all this press from, all these crazy statements that he would make. And they would give him all this press, and that's what helped get him elected. But it also just made people so angry. Yeah. I remember we had an End of the World podcast that we did on 2016 during the election. So we did this live podcast from the Comedy Store. And I remember we went into the bar after it was all over, and we watched CNN. And we were watching like Jake Tapper and all these people like so depressed.
Yeah.
They were so angry and so just, it was so visibly obvious that these are not objective journalists that are just talking about this thing that happened, but they had a very clear mandate and they had a very clear role that they were playing. And that role was that we are the people that oppose this terrible thing that has just happened, where we have legally elected, because of people's opinions, this person who more than half the person, or more, at least the electoral college votes, more than half had decided should be the president. So the people had chosen, and they were like, the people are wrong. And it was wild. It was wild to see, because I was like, this is interesting, because it's like, this is one of the clearest examples of, it's just, they're not objective. These are not journalists. These are not people that are just reporting on actual facts. They had to have this opinion, this dour face, and everyone was very upset, very upset. Which, I mean, I understand it if you're not a journalist. I understand if you're just a person, and you were a person that thought Hillary Clinton should be president, and then you saw this guy win, you're like, what the fuck? But you're not just a person, you're a fucking journalist, you know, and your job is to tell people what's happening.
But that's not journalism anymore. It's sensationalism. It's, you have 10 words on an ESPN front page to try and denote what a story is about to tell you. And how do I get the most clicks on this article just written?
Yeah.
I better make it the craziest fucking headline possible.
Yeah.
Just because if you click on that and you're on the page for 1 second, that counts as a page view.
But what they didn't understand, and I think they recognize now that there's new leadership at CNN, was that diminishes
CNN
public's
Plus,
trust. CNN Plus doesn't exist anymore. It was a great idea, but unfortunately they lost $300 million in 10 days, and so they pulled the plug. So weird, because I thought it was going to take off.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want to pay for something that no one watches for free? What a fucking genius idea. I would have liked to have been in the meeting with those people and just sit down and go, hey guys, look, I know you and I don't see eye to eye on things, but unless you want to lose a lot of fucking money, this is a terrible idea.